And another thought about about the Christ second coming of Christ. I find it super interesting that a large amount of people who have psychotic breaks proclaim themselves to be the second coming of Christ. And I'm feeling somewhere that maybe they're just all right, because the second coming of Christ is potentially like a cloud computer event or an egregore event where it's spread out over multiple people instead of being only sustained through one human body. It will be sustained through many.
Yeah.
So that made sense to me.
Yeah. No, I think it's quite paradoxical, but there's a sense in which, esoterically you can understand that what Moses sees in the burning bush and what introduces itself as the I am was this sun being that only later actually fully incarnated into physical human form. And after Christ is crucified, what's resurrected is not so much this one like Jesus as now the savior, but what's resurrected is this capacity that each of us has to hold that I am consciousness in ourselves. And so that's each of us has a unique relationship to that universal self, as it were. And so when the psychotic person sort of breaks through the social habits that keep us more or less in check, knowing the limits of our egos, and they experience that I am within themselves without a proper sense of initiation or a cultural context to understand what's going on, then yeah, they identify too fully with it in an egoic way. And that can be really disorienting for everyone involved. But it's also true, what they're experiencing on some level. It could be that evolutionary awakening happens is unfolding gradually, and these people who have these psychotic breaks are experiencing it out of season or too early or in the wrong context. Yeah. But it's, maybe we could use a little jolt here. And I think the prevalence and the rapidity that's surprising to me at how rapid psychedelics have come into the mainstream culture in a way which I wouldn't have expected. But these psychedelic experiences can often catapult us into that type of an awareness of the divine within, of really feeling intensely. I've had this on high dose LSD, both knowing that I'm inflated, but also knowing that I'm touching something real and feeling like, some high dose experiences where I stayed in my bedroom all night, processing and knowing that, gosh, if I were to leave my bedroom and go talk to people, I wouldn't be able to help but tell them that, hey, I know, do you know that, like, that we're God? Because, and it would very easily be mistaken as psychosis. And so I just stayed in my room and kept it to myself. But there's something about the power of that revelation that can drive you crazy if the people around you are not ready for it. Right? Because, and you drive yourself crazy because you see people's reactions. They're disbelieving. They're like, oh, you're not well. Something's off here. So like, until the whole collective is ready to support and sustain this realization, it's very difficult for us as individuals to do this work.
Yeah. And also this famous scientific quip, what is it? I first have to see it before I believe it. I feel that in this spiritual domain, it works the other way around, that you first have to believe it before you can even perceive it, right?
Like, we have the telephone to make contact with these other worlds, but do we know who we want to call? Or are we just randomly catapulting ourselves into realms that could be initially quite chaotic because we're totally unprepared. So how do we need to cultivate our will and our heart, be centered in our hearts before we do this type of work? Would be an important question I would ask.
Oh yeah.
Makes me also wonder if these entities are also doing their equivalent of psychedelic journeying to reach us. And what are they doing here as we speak?
That's what the UAPs are. They're
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 potentially
tripping.
drunk. So they have to lower their frequency so they come to our plane. And all first alien encounters are with drunk aliens.
Gosh,